An 83-year-old woman from Sussex has been made the face of a national campaign calling for grandparents who take on and bring up a grandchild to be paid a kinship allowance. Pat Knight has taken care of her 14-year-old grandson Reese since he was 5, following the death of his mother. But they've always struggled financially since her only income is her pension. Catherine Downs reports.
With a 14-year-old grandson to buy for, Christmas is a difficult time for Pat Knight.
What can you buy a 14-year-old that is a reasonable price today? It's all electronics, phones and everything else. And you can't just suddenly deprive a child because he's landed with us and we're bringing him up. He can't have the same as other children.
The rest of the year is a struggle too. Reese has lived with his grandparents since his mother died 10 years ago. Because they're family, Bob and Pat aren't recognised as foster parents, so they don't get any benefits or allowances.
When grandparents take over a child, it's much nicer than them going into care, because it is family. I'm fortunate in having my grandson to bring up after I lost my daughter. But then, you know, the families do need help.
Around 300,000 children across the country are cared for by grandparents or other family members. Pat says it costs at least £50 a week to provide basic care for Reese. And over the time they've looked after him, they've had to take £70,000 of equity from their house in order to get by.
Local authorities are very cash-strapped. You know, they've got many children who perhaps don't have grandparents there to help out. And often their view is, well, this child's safe now, so we'll step back, we'll leave the grandparents to get on with it.
After a fight that's lasted over 12 months, Pat will get an allowance from East Sussex County Council next year. They say they do support many families, even though they don't legally have to. Now there are calls for a change in that system.
In the end, we had to threaten the council with judicial review. That shouldn't have been necessary. It should have been a case where she was assessed and where she was then determined to need this money.
Despite their worries, Pat says she has splashed out on a surprise for Reese this Christmas, though it's not something he's expecting.
Well, I don't really mind not getting expensive things, so yeah, I mind getting little things.
Catherine Downs, BBC South East Today, St Leonards.